Hi, this is Taryn Grome, editor of Pharma Voice. We met with numerous inspirational thought leaders at this year's DIA annual conference as part of our Editors Take video series. I hope you enjoyed this discussion.
In this episode, we spend some time with Bill Gwinn, VP, Clinical Informatics Solutions, Optum. What makes the widely discussed emergence of new data assets so exciting?
There's a lot of buzz about that, and the catchphrases are usually real world data analytics or real world evidence. And what we're doing now is discovering an explosion in information. So what does that mean? Well, things like insurance claims have been around for a long time, but now we're seeing the emergence of electronic health records and the information that comes from the medical charts of patients. And Optum is at the forefront of that with over 150 million lives in insurance claims, and now thanks to the acquisition of Humedica, over 40 million lives with electronic health records. And you can find out more information now than ever that can be for things like market intelligence. In fact, you just published one of the articles from one of my colleagues on gaining market intelligence from electronic health records. So with this information explosion, you can plan things and do planning, forecasting, targeting, including planning of clinical trials better than ever before.
How does Optum fit into the new landscape?
Well, Optum fits into the equations in a couple of ways. We're owned by United Health Group, the nation's largest medical insurance company. That gives us the critical mass of data and more lives than anyone else. But it also allows us to develop applications because the databases are very big and the business questions are very specific. Absent somebody with the analytical expertise, and I was just talking with a consultant minutes ago, but absent that expertise, people get lost. And this consultant is actually helping clients use Optum data. The mistake that you can make is just to say, I'll license it and then I'll find it. What you need to do is think about the questions that you need to solve and the things that you're trying to answer and focus the conversation with Optum or a consultant so that you can get the information you need.
Why is this new data important and how is it collected?
Well, the data points are collected from medical charts in the case of electronic health records or from filing of insurance claims in the case of insurance claims. But I'll tell you just a brief story about how you can apply these statistics. I work in the clinical trials of new drugs, as you know from prior interviews, and I'll give you a brief story about getting spirometer values. That's a breathing test. You exhale in a tube and it measures how well you're breathing. And here at DIA, I just presented a case study on chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. When we were first trying to assess if patients were really available back years ago on COPD, and if they qualified for a trial based on how much their breathing was impaired, the only way to assess that in advance was to pull medical charts, a tedious and time-consuming process, and a chart review could at best be done like 30, 40 charts a day at a medical office. Later on, I was involved in the development of a Google-type search engine that would pull the charts, but you still had to read the charts. Now, fast forward, we had insurance claims and we could tell if a test was conducted, but we did not have the test results. Then go a little farther than that with electronic health records. Now we have all the test results. But can you pull a specific statistical value? Initially, no, but Humedica had something called NLP, natural language processing, that took the text of the medical charts and parsed that information into usable statistics. So now, we're looking for a specific test value in a spirometer test, and we want to know the percent of people that have impaired breathing. Now I can look that particular number up and say, in the case of the case study I presented on COPD, the value that the client wanted, 62% of the patients qualified for the trial. That's very specific, and it tells you if you're going to be able to obtain the patients that you want for the trial. And the value of all that is better planning for faster trials because you need to know in advance if the patients exist, and if they don't exist, you need to adjust accordingly so that your trial can go into the future without lapsing into rescue mode.
What role do analytics play in this, and how can life sciences take advantage of it?
Well, there are all kinds of applications. Now, I've just given you one where you can do better planning for faster trials, but there's all kinds of things that you can do with market intelligence. You can look at the burden of illness. You can look at effectiveness. You can look at persistency, and there's this concept of total persistency. I'll give an example for people that have established brands. You might not know why your drug is doing the way it's doing. You might be able to look at the sales trend, but whether the dynamics behind that sales trend. So one concept is looking at total persistency. I think it's well known in the industry that people have scripts written for them, and then that they don't fill them, or if they do fill them, they don't refill them. What are the dynamics of that? Well, by taking claims and clinical values combined, you can assess that. With clinical only, you can tell if a script was written. With claims only, you can tell if a script was filled. With both, you can look at the entire pattern. And this would enable somebody with an established brand, for instance, to determine if they need a refill reminder program or something specific like that.
For more information on this topic, visit our Thought Leaders website.
For more Editors Take videos from the 2015 DIA Annual Conference, visit www.pharmavoice.com. Thanks for joining us.